Welcome to GloryHoundd and the Uninvited Gamers. I'm your host, GloryHoundd, and tonight's Uninvited Gamers are...
DrGloryHogg.
Andrew Spindler.
And tonight we're going to talk about, a whole bunch of games, but also I would like to reference...
Shocker.
Well,
We're
if you haven't watched us
games,
before...
guys. For something new, we're going to try out board games.
Just a few.
What's the deal with board games?
Oh, that would be a perfect intro.
No. I don't think we need to go back to
It would be so
Seinfeld.
ridiculous. It would be so ridiculous. No, we want to talk about how our format's changing a little bit first. So we're going to be doing a couple different shows now. Instead of 1 hour-long podcast, we're going to be doing 2 30-minute podcasts / videos, because we are going to have video content now. Yeah, so you can see our smiling faces.
You're welcome.
DrGloryHogg is very excited about the whole.
Oh, I feel like our female
Video
viewership
prospect.
and the viewership
We're gonna
in
go
Is
right
it gonna
off
go
a cliff.
right? Yeah, right.
Well, it's older women.
Right
and
off a cliff or right off?
I play well with older women and prisons.
What?
So those two, I feel
Those-
like are
That's where you're going
So
to
your
get
baby
the those are
boomers?
where you're going to
Yeah.
get your viewers from.
baby
Prison
boomers and prisoners.
and old ladies.
That's where I'm going to get most hits.
And-
On the upside, he's going to be really good at cribbage in like a month.
Really good. I know how to play naked bridge, if that's a thing. I'm not sure if it's a thing, but they said it was.
It wasn't actually a game. You just walked across a bridge naked.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with
Wait,
this?
that's not how you play. What's the deal with bridges these days?
That's so awkward. I mean, I've been told this is how you play bridge the entire time. I mean, no.
Every time.
No. Well, we're going to be putting our 2 shows into like 2 different shows. So one, we can do our After
Lock them
Dark
together.
Uninvited Gamers, subjects and stuff where we are silly and we talk about board games and we bullshit and we say many, many bad words.
This is for all you dirty birds out there.
But because
This
we
is
do
your
have a dirty
podcast.
following, because let's be honest, that's how I roll. So I'm sorry.
Queen
not
Queen
sorry.
Nurgle.
Yeah, I'm like...
You don't have to be sorry.
It's just, it's just how it is. But then we're going to have the super professional, and by professional, I mean
Super professional.
professional, but, very, what is it?
Family friendly.
I guess.
Or family
For
friendly.
Kickstarters. But we're going to talk about Kickstarters, and we're going to...
If your husband walks in, he won't immediately go, "What the fuck are you listening to?"
That's exactly it. That's because we've had
That's
that
happened.
happen before. Yeah, where
Wait,
somebody's
really?
spouse, somebody's
Yeah.
spouse walks in and goes, "What is this that you're listening
Yeah, a
to?"
friend
And
from
then we're
work
like,
was listening to it. She was like,
"Ooh, we're
"I have to
sorry.
explain. It's a friend from work. It's
We're
his podcast. I didn't know they were going to say this much
We
stuff."
didn't know they were going to talk about butt plugs,
fair.
dice butt plugs, but it happened. It happened.
Do they make those?
Trademarked. We got it trademarked.
Do they make those?
We're going to be making them. No, I am sure
merchandise?
on the internet that they do make those things. Like you can probably type, since
Hold on.
He's
if
looking
you're
right
on
now.
YouTube right now, you can just type it in, and I'm sure that they have it.
On YouTube?
Well, not on. Well, maybe. I don't know.
That's
YouTube
what
sells
you
them
said.
direct.
Definitely on the gaming Pornhub for sure.
Yeah, that's
Wasn't this first portion supposed to be PG?
no.
No,
Oh,
this
not
is
yet.
the
Okay.
this is the Uninvited Gamers one.
Oh,
So
I
this is
see. Okay.
branded
So
Uninvited
Spindler was
Gamers
telling us about
with
how
all the excellent
The new place
Uninvited
to go
Gamers
for
content.
gaming podcasts
Right.
and gaming videos is on Pornhub.
Pornhub has seen like okay, so the YouTube ad apocalypse was a thing that happened where YouTube changed their terms or whatever and allowed advertisers to pull out of throwing up ads on their stuff, and it also flagged a bunch of channels for not being suitable to contain ads.
Right.
And that's like
Right, and they did
screwing up
political
the
ones too, where like you almost had to pay if your site was considered too political.
kind of.
That's like what hit up Cracked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So a lot of channels, as a result, started doing all their streaming and all of their video uploads to Pornhub. So that's
You get it where you can. I'm sorry.
She was real excited about that one.
dice butt
plugs.
plug.
I'm sure they have it. If they don't, like somebody needs to get on that because
No, stop telling other people to do it because we should
nerds
do it.
are dirty too.
They're the
Yeah,
dirtiest.
that's a true story because they're very creative.
Aw. So
They're problem solvers.
nothing, but
We'll get there.
I got really excited for a second.
We're-
I got really excited for a second because the first thing that I saw was wand, and I'm like, oh, they have D&D themed stuff. I'm like, that's not what a sex wand is.
Yeah.
I can be a wizard.
I think really any wand can be used that way, though. That's the general purpose of them. You can cast spells or, correct yourself.
Maybe. I mean,
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
the same thing goes with toothbrushes. So, I mean, it's just like...
Whoa.
I mean, people put Sharpies up their butt for like fake internet points. So
What?
That's That's a thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not on the same parts of the internet you were on.
This
you
is
wanna be?
like a whole
No.
different like treasure hunt
I just
game.
figured out what Reddit is,
Ooh,
and I'm
that's
scared.
what we need to do. We
There's
need to do a like dirty gaming treasure hunt game where like you have to go and find different things on the internet.
That sounds like we're going to get sued. We need a lawyer to advise us for free. While we're speaking of,
Okay.
payments, this
Well-
is a Velcro patch, so I can be bought. I'll rip this patch off. Pepsi,
And just put something else
Dr.
on.
Pepper. I'll start drinking your
You're-
product,
you're
even if
for
I'm
hire.
not supposed to. I'll drink it. Those are
That's a fidget spinner
On your
fidget
butt.
spinner butt
for a
plug.
very special place.
In case you forget that, like, or you get bored and you're like,
That-
oh man.
If you are bored,
That's not even functional. The cheeks will get in the way of the spinning. That's
This
not
is true.
real.
This
That's-
is true.
That's a waste.
Well.
it's a waste of a.
so
fidget
I
spinner.
mean, overall though,
something you can play with while you're at work.
as a PSA, as a PSA, this is going to be our After Dark special. Is going to be our
I thought
Uninvited
this
Gamers.
was the clean one.
they've got one.
No,
that
this is
lights
not the
up.
clean one. And then our Kickstarter version will be much cleaner and more marketable and stuff. So
50%
people can
cleaner.
actually like send those out to their friends, whereas like you send this podcast only to your really dirty friends that like laugh at really
The friends
bad
that
stuff with you.
No, your friends that shouldn't really be your friends because they're just kind of bad people.
Well, maybe a little bit, but that's okay.
It's a fidget cube.
a fidget
It's
cube
a fidget
butt
cube
plug.
on a butt plug.
See, you could put a dice on that and it'd be just fine.
It's very similar. Cubes, dice. Very
Oh, so
similar.
you're thinking as the adornment instead of the gem. It's a
Or
dice.
either
I was
or.
thinking like a D20 as the nubbin.
I mean, you could do that too because a D20 is
Why not
like,
both?
close
Broken
enough,
roses.
like
So
a
you
double
can
one.
see it and
double
feel
one.
it.
Hi,
I
Mom.
feel like I feel like I should be on a different podcast.
All right. Well, we played some games this week. It was super awesome. We want to talk about them
played
as
some
usual.
games.
Let's see. What did I play this week? Oh, I played Reef. That's right.
Oh yeah,
have you
the
guys
game
seen
that's-
Reef?
The game that's super hot right now that literally everybody's talking about.
It's-
What's the game that I played? Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that's right. I played Reef, guys. Let me tell you about it.
How was it? Because from
Okay.
a visual standpoint, I was not expecting what.
What were you expecting?
I wasn't expecting. I knew that there was going to be some toy component.
Okay.
Because Reef is done by Plan B, who did
Right.
Azul, right?
Right.
But I wasn't expecting like
Big,
stackable,
chunky,
like they look like
looking
bath
pieces.
toys.
They did.
Yeah, they've been compared
Yeah.
to kids' toys.
Yeah.
Like I like all of the stuff, the look of Reef, except those plastic pieces were just kind of like a little bit out of place. Like the color was fine
They're
with
not
them and
they're not
stuff. Like
corally enough. I want something.
whenever I
spiky.
looked at the
I want
pieces, I didn't think
cuts.
coral. I didn't think coral.
wanna
I didn't
be-
even know
I
about
wanna
that.
Be cut by your game. Cut me.
No.
I got that.
But this is another game by
spinner.
Emerson, and let's see here.
Later.
It's for 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes, and it's for 8+. Definitely, like your kids could definitely
Does
play
it knock
this game. It's
Azul
super easy.
out of its place?
Well, here's the thing.
Actually, before you go into that,
Okay, so here's the thing.
describe to me how Reef plays.
Okay,
because
here's how
I've
it goes.
only
Here's how it
seen-
goes. So, you put out your board and stuff, and then you get some cards in your hand. And the cards on them, they have, if you have this piece in this position and this piece in this position, then you're going to get X amount of points, okay? And that's how you're scoring. But also on the other half of the card, you have your pieces that you're going to get from laying that card down. So the card acts in two ways. One, you put it down and you're going to gain pieces to put on your board. And then 2, you're going to score points on your board. You don't have to do both, but you don't have to like score the points. Like you can still put down a card to get the pieces. But that's the whole point of the game is like
feel
scoring
it's
the points,
like,
you know?
a little bit like Takanoko kind of with the bamboo. Like you want it, because you know with Takanoko how you want to like get your bamboo to a certain level and then score off of that. That portion
Yeah.
reminds me of that, but more in depth because the whole
And
game
then this
is
this
the
works
pieces.
it works on different layers. So like
So you're
if-
stacking them.
Yeah. So if I had one that scores like a red in the middle and then a green up top, if I had a red green and then like a red purple, I'm going to score for 2 layers worth of that.
Oh, so it's like a 4D.
Yeah. So you're going to be
Connect Four
scoring
thing.
your
Okay.
your
Kind of,
entire
yeah.
board, and then where things are orientated off of it.
So so combo from using the card. So it's a central
Yeah, you
shared
can put it
board?
down and use. Yeah. No. You each have your individual board.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're building your own board, and so.
So where's the player interaction there?
There's not really. I mean, because
There's not a whole
you're doing
bunch.
your own board. Okay, and then you have a deck that like 4 cards come out of, and you get to pick what your next card is going to be and put it in your hand.
I think that's where most of the play is.
So that's where it is. Is some people could
how
choose
you want to play the cards.
Yeah, some people could choose the cards before you and stuff and take them, but that's really your only player interaction.
So
the rest is just you and building your board and like trying to get the most points off of it.
You should be like, no points for you.
So you're drafting from a center row.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it was a good game for people that I think really like games.
It's a gateway game.
It's a gateway game. It's a filler game. It's not a game I would probably play because that mechanic where you have the cards that come out, there's only 4 of them out there. So it's not like, like in Century Spice Road, you at least have like 5 or 7 cards. You have more cards to choose from, in Century Spice Road. You take penalties, but
she likes
I like being able to pick from more cards. 4 cards was so limiting for me because like if somebody chose 2 or 3 cards that I wanted in a row, like in every round, like my board just became shit. I was like, damn it, like I can't score what I want to score here because people keep taking my cards, and like I just didn't feel like there was enough there to build like a strategy off of. So
the player agency is in such a way that you can't build long-term solutions. So it's not a strategic game.
You cannot build long-term solutions, and you have to do
it's playing what you've got.
Yeah, you play what you got.
So it's not strategic, it's tactical.
Yeah, it's definitely much more resource management.
Gotcha.
Like working with what you've got in front of you.
And for me, who likes more strategic games, this was not a game for me. Like, it looked nice. I could see where lots of people would like it. Everybody I sat at the table with loved the game. Like, everybody loved the game. But I just did not.
For you.
I would not play the game again, probably, because of that, But that's not my type of game, Somebody who wants a gateway game or something that's more in the middle or something fun that they can play with their kids and stuff like this would be an excellent, excellent game for kids and stuff. Like, because it's colorful, it's easy to play and stuff, and it gives them like a little bit of building and stuff. It's like a really interesting game for that.
It's another one of those gateway games. It's something that's like, this is better than Monopoly.
Hold on, is this a gateway game?
And you're
is every game a gateway game?
No.
No, there's some that are just too much. Like we found out, House of Betrayal on Haunted Hill. Betrayal on Haunted Hill.
Betrayal at the House on the
You always
Hill.
get it mixed up. It's
I
hilarious.
Think of the movie. I think of the movie.
Hilarious listening to you do it every time.
That game, while people had fun with it, everybody who played it, even the people that I'd say skew more towards being advanced gamers, were just kind of like, it was really confusing.
Yeah.
They had a harder time with that. And they're like, I liked it, but it was confusing. I don't think I would play it on my own without somebody showing me how to play it.
Yeah. Well, the end of that game is confusing for
everybody.
People who haven't played or people who aren't avid gamers.
So I told everybody that I won.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, wait, I misread this bottom line. And then I reset it. And I was like, I didn't win yet, but I will in 3 turns.
Like, you would not want a non-gamer to play the Haunt.
Yeah.
Like, you may as well just be like, nope, you're not playing that one. Go and give the book to somebody else because, like...
slap them right in the face.
There's too many odd instructions in that one.
Slap.
Good girthy slap with your dice butt plug.
I've fit Girthy in 3 times.
Reef is a beautiful game.
I'm proud of myself.
I recommend it to people who want those filler games, want the gateway games. If you're looking for a highly strategic game, probably not.
Well, there's something to be said for like 30-minute games, though, is because they're just going to get played more just based off the time.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, someone's needs to do this or someone's late. You just
There's other 30-minute games, though, I'd rather play than Reef.
So like 7 minutes in heaven.
So do you know...
Yeah, with you.
Do you remember what the naming convention is or what their whole ideal with the 4-letter games that they're putting out? Because there's...
Find them. Finger them?
No,
that's not the...
No, that's the 4 Fs.
You're right. I don't remember.
No, because they had
there was something though.
It was like a design.
Because they're doing 4-letter.
Yeah, it was a design philosophy for like their series of games that are going to be 4 letters, and I can't recall what that was.
I don't remember what it was either.
I wonder if they might have skewed too far in one direction with Reef.
Maybe.
As opposed to Azul, because I'm listening to this and I'm like, this sounds fun. I'm a combo. I'm a Johnny. I love building up.
Mm-hmm.
The short resource row or center row.
I find that fun usually for me personally.
Yeah, you have to have the right person for that.
I really like just scrounging, just making something out of nothing. Like, oh, this is crap. I can make this work.
But the thing that loses me is the individual player boards.
Right, you'd prefer it to be one big board that everyone's playing off of?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have more of ability to interact with everybody and stuff that way.
You'd be able to go for the blocks.
Yeah.
You'd be able to go for either the Hail Mary plays where it's like, oh, I'm going to do this whole 5 connects.
If they're trying to keep it super like player friendly, though. They're not going to want any sort of
take that mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're going to be able to influence other
all you
people's
can
things
do
and
is-
make people upset. You know.
All you can do is hate draft right now and be like, nope, you're not getting that card.
Yeah.
Which is only makes people so upset.
But I think that's an integral part of gaming, you know, because like that's another way
screwing
to
people.
influence the game. Well, who doesn't? Okay, I mean, let's
She's
be
got the
honest.
right- she's got the right toys for
Let's
it.
be honest.
She's like finds a way to be the betrayer in every game. Monopoly, she was the betrayer.
even when I'm not
this
the betrayer.
bank wasn't real money. That's not how Monopoly works.
So I guess this game is going to be compared to Azul.
Yeah,
obviously.
it is.
Well, it's like the game that came right after it that they put out. So of course it's
Right.
going to be.
Plus, it's
this
in the
is the
same
hotness.
family.
Yeah.
This is the new hotness.
So I wonder if they had taken the core ideals of Azul. It's like, oh, Azul, you're drafting from these depots. That's where you interact with people. And that obviously carries over to Reef with the individual player boards. But I wonder if, because in Azul you have 2 depots per player plus 2, I think.
So you think they skewed it more to the light side, like a little bit easier?
I think that they may have,
Probably.
and of course I have not played the game, so this
Yeah.
is all speculation, but I think that they took the ability to interact with people, which in Azul is pretty great because you can force people's hand and force them
Right.
negative points. And I wonder if they're like, nah.
They were trying to make it more friendly.
Yeah.
Like make
Maybe.
it more player friendly, kid friendly, and stuff like that. Do you remember what the age is on Azul? I wonder if it's higher. I wonder if
Nah.
it's like 10 or something.
I don't
I
know,
could look
but
it up.
I can see skewing that way though, right? Especially if you know that you have a light game. If you've got a light game, you don't want to have a bunch to take that unless it's in
It's
a
a very
humorous way.
light, fast game.
Think
and
of
just
light games.
You're building your little reef up and stuff, and
They usually don't. Most light games that
that's it.
succeed don't have it where the new players are going to go negative, unless it's something silly like nuts, where it's like everyone's like, you can't get my nuts. These are my nuts.
well, and the first time you're playing it too, like you don't know what the different card combinations are and stuff. If you play this game a whole lot, you're gonna know where the majority of card combinations go off of
you
colors
become like
and
a
stuff
Reef
like that.
samurai. Where this
Yeah,
is your
exactly.
only
You can be
job,
like, oh,
playing
usually,
Reef.
you know, if there's a card here, it's paired with the middle and the side or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Azul is A+.
It is 8+. Okay, so it's the same. It's the same. I don't know.
So not for you then.
It was not for me, but there's plenty of people that love it out
She
there.
likes
and
tactical games,
I
I
do.
don't
I
think.
like very tactical
Strategic.
games. Yeah.
I don't know if she's ever mentioned that before. That she likes.
It's like every show. Well, because I don't want somebody to be like,
Constantly.
"Oh man, she said this game was shit." When I didn't. I'm not saying it's shit. Like
You're saying
it's
not for
a
you.
good game.
It's
It's just
shite.
not one I'm going to play because I'm a strategic, tactical player, and I don't enjoy a game that gives me too much randomness or that I can't influence enough. And that's what I felt were my limitations in this game, where
You wanna
that
be-
I couldn't influence the board and what was happening.
You
want to
be a
enough.
general, not an infantryman.
That's right.
Right.
Do
You
me
want
a
to tell
favor.
everybody else what to do, not try to make something work with the crap that somebody else gave you.
That's right. Like,
That's the
fuck that.
difference.
That's somebody
Right.
else's job.
You want to order people to die versus trying not to die. Got it.
I have the all over plan. I have the big. I can see
Right.
everything.
So do me a
but with
favor.
this game,
Little
man.
god complex going on there.
What?
Just
So do me
tiny
a
god.
favor.
Okay.
You like to manipulate, or as you said, you like to hold on. Nope, not going there. You like to manipulate the randomness, or started with an I.
Influence.
Say it again.
Influence.
You put an inflection on just the
Influence.
second half of that word, and I find that very interesting.
Influence.
There's like
Influence?
influence. There's like
Influence. I like to influence
Influence.
let me just derail everything. To,
for the inflection.
So, like I said, Reef is a good game, but it was not a game for me.
when Plan B said that they were publishing a game called Reef, I got super excited because
It's cute. It
there-
looks cute.
Well, I got confused because there was another game called Reef Encounter that is like super hot, like Grail game for
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay.
And I got really disappointed when I'm like, oh, is this going to be this? Is it going to be a reprint of this? And I was like, nah.
No, meh, meh,
Not-
meh.
not.
All right, Dr. GloryHogg, what was your game of the week?
I played Ethnos or Ethnos.
Ethnos.
Ethnos. There's
We've
Ethnos.
called it.
Ethnos.
You called this so many different.
Yeah, it's got an ETH in there. It's
Yeah.
whatever I want it to be. It's
Yeah.
Ethnos, yes.
I think people are just going to get used to you mispronouncing things. It's
yeah,
fine though.
well,
It's
I'm
fine.
American, and I can mispronounce and change words
reckon-
however I want.
I reckon it's ethnos. You cannot grammatically
Ethnos. It looks
throw
ethnos,
an
yeah.
argument toward my way that's going to convince me that it's going to be ethnos.
We have more guns than you.
Oh, shit. All right, fine, whatever you want.
See?
All right, so
Works every
tell
time.
us how ethnos works. Ethos works.
Ethos?
Ephemera-
Ethos is
ephemera.
different.
Yeah.
So I know, just as a spoiler, that you really like this game.
Oh,
you might have
dang
mentioned it like
it.
900 times.
I was also really drunk on
Hey,
whiskey.
wait, does she like this game?
She's like,
I was
guys,
super drunk.
Guys,
I
this
like
game has such good
half a bottle of
components.
whiskey drunk
Guys,
playing
guys,
this game.
I really enjoy this game. Guys, do you not
and
like
I might
this
have been
game?
super
Guys,
exuberant about what I was talking about with the
a
game and
little
how
bit,
much
yeah.
I liked
Guys,
it.
Guys, this is really good.
Yeah.
I really like this game. Really.
Well, I'll
it's
tell you all
really
about
good.
that later. Tell our viewers how it's played and stuff.
So it's an area control game because you have a map, right?
Okay.
And what you're trying to do.
Oh my
you
God, I
saying that-
love this
Are you
game.
saying? Are you,
It was a good game.
so you're telling me that just because a game has a map means it's area control?
All games.
That's
I make blanket statements.
that's appropriation.
All games
that
with a map.
appropriation?
If you got a map, if a cartographer was involved in your game,
Oh,
area
okay.
control.
Okay, I see.
It is area
Yes.
control though because there's points
Got it.
based on
Fireball,
the area.
Fireball Island.
There's not. That's not a map. That's an island.
Well,
Good
What?
God.
Is it a map
What?
of an island or is it
No,
an
it
actual
is an
island?
actual-
there's
islands.
difference. It's a difference, I guess.
If
There's
you've got a
difference.
working volcano, you're no longer a map. You're an actual place.
You're right.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Go ahead.
But there is an area control mechanism to it.
Okay.
Because what you're trying to do basically is you're drafting cards, right? You would say we're drafting cards.
Yes.
You're selecting
Yeah.
cards from a central row.
Yeah.
I'll
Yes.
ticket to ride.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're drafting cards from a central row, and you're trying to make sets. So it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of almost a trick-taking game because you're trying to get like multiple orcs, or you're trying to get multiple merfolk. But every class has its own bonus.
Its own special ability.
Like merfolk have their own track, which has their own scoring track. So only if you play merfolk sets do you actually go on that track.
Yeah.
And there's multiple tribes. So you only mix in so many tribes. So the
Yeah, I
scoring
believe
tracks
there's
are
like
different
12
every single
different
time.
tribes, and you only use 6 of them each time.
So
So,
it's never the same.
you get varied playability with it and stuff. Yeah.
multiple tribes. You can play with the box.
Yeah.
So there's multiple tribes in it, so you never play the same game. So you could not even have merfolk. You could not. So elves let you keep cards in your hand because normally what you're going to do is you're going to make your set. So say I have 5 cards. I've got 3 orange cards. I put them down. I've got my orc on top. That's going to score on my orc track. And the other cards in my hand would go back in the middle for people to start drafting from again. So there's a limited pool, though. You don't just keep flipping out cards like Ticket to Ride where you always flip out a new card. It's the starting cards and then whatever people have to discard whenever they make a set.
Yeah.
So if you make a set of 3 and the other 2 don't match with your set in your hand,
'cause-
those go back in the middle.
Because when you make a set, you have to discard your entire.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
But there's
Which
also
is
stuff
cool.
for that.
I like
the
it.
centaurs let you actually go ahead and play a second set if you've got it. So you play centaurs, and then that lets you play a second set out of your hand, so you can get rid of all your cards that way potentially. Or like the elves let you keep X amount of cards depending on what set you put out.
But you're trying to get the best combination of cards in your hand and play them out on the board to get
And
the most scoring out of the game.
And you're going to want to score in all 6 tribes if you can. You don't want to go like, I'm going to go heavy elves.
Yeah,
or heavy
you
this.
don't-
You kind of want to try
It's
to
not
score on all of
beneficial
them.
really to focus on one thing in this
Like
game.
it's like Agricola. You want to hit multiple things or you're going
Agricola?
to lose.
Agricola?
Agricola?
Yeah, Agricola.
Is that like a new disease?
This
He's,
is a real
he's
thing.
American. He's
Oh,
American.
America.
Okay.
You're gonna interject letters.
You're going to just, hey.
She's influenza.
You
You're
hear me say-
Agricola.
You want to know all the games I mispronounce? We can talk about
We don't
Casserone.
have-
we could just roll a
What?
clip. We
Casserone.
could Carcassonne.
Casserone.
Casserone, like casserole.
Is that like a potluck dish
Yeah.
from the Midwest that you
It is.
bring?
I call it
It is,
casserone.
it is,
to try-
Casserone. That's how I
Okay.
calls it.
I think that you're skipping over a big chunk of.
Listen,
of
I calls them as I
this-
sees them. I'm not. I could talk about this a lot, but I know she really wants to talk about it. I'm trying to be nice.
Well, I think that you should clarify the races. So there's
Whoa, that's
basic correct. there are basic races that have just different abilities. It's like the starting 4, right?
Do you start with the same 4 every time?
No, I think you mix them up and you mix all of them up and
She
then
says
you
mix
throw them
them.
out. Yeah.
We don't
So-
care what the rules
and then
say.
you get
Mix-
six of whatever is in there.
Okay, so it's then. Okay, so you have your races,
Yeah.
and then but some of the races have different boards and tracks that come out if you're
Right.
playing with those races,
Right.
Right. Like we had a merfolk track and an orc track, but that's not always going to be there.
Right, and they moving along those different tracks or placing extra tokens on the board is dependent on
Those tracks.
those tracks. Okay,
Right.
cool.
Yep. Or just different points. It's just like
And then you
Agricola.
gain points and abilities from the tracks and the cards, and then
it's-
also on the board.
Right,
so,
because it's mostly an area control game,
yeah.
and there are
Yes.
3
so
ages in the game. right?
exactly.
That's another
Each
big part
age
of
that
it.
comes out, you score on the board, and the first age you score the first age of each area, and then the second age you score first and second of each area, and then the third age you score, first, second, and third of each area. So
Right.
the points, it's kind of interesting how you put out the tokens.
You gotta
for
have
that.
your fingers
mix
in
up-
everything, or you're just gonna lose.
Really, you kind of do, because
You gotta be doing a little bit of everything.
you have to be doing a little bit
And
of
do
everything
it
to get
a
all the
little bit
points
better
from
than
everything.
everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. But I like that a lot because
Well, what I liked is in the first age, you were ahead by like 16 points. And then by the third age, the point difference was like 1 point between first, second, and third. Like it got really close at the end.
In terms of victory
did
points?
you win that by
I was going
one?
to say, I thought that was the one that no. You're thinking about Lords of Waterdeep when you guys made
No.
it back. This one,
No.
I was like way ahead the end
Oh,
of
that's
time.
right. We
There was-
stopped
Yeah, this
counting
one
you.
I was, you stopped counting
She
me.
got so far ahead, we stopped counting
Once
it.
I
That's
lapped
right.
the board, they were like, you know what? She's not even in the game anymore.
Yeah,
It's
so I
fine,
got
it's
second
fine.
place, but really first place because we weren't counting her.
Yeah.
Her
So
being
she
the
got
one that-
first, second place.
So she was the
She knew
AI.
the rules, and I think that really kind of gave her a benefit. Because we were in the middle of second age when somebody goes, "Oh, you can match
I
tribes
explained the
or
rules
colors?"
to everybody.
We're like, "Yeah, dude, you can do
I
colors."
said that in the beginning.
And he was like, "Oh, that makes a big difference."
I
We're
said
like,
colors
yeah.
or suits.
You don't have to do tribes only.
Color-
he was
yeah.
doing just tribes.
Well, the colors are important because
That's the areas.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
different
on the
areas
map.
That's
on
where
the
you
board.
go
Your
to.
So
area
what were you
control.
guys doing?
For your area control.
Right.
Yeah.
So which-
they
hold
were
on,
doing
wait.
it wrong.
So you were
is what
throwing
it
out
was.
tribes, but then the tribes are. So you. How are you getting points on the board?
It's always the top card.
What do you mean?
It doesn't matter. So it's always your top card is going to be the tribe and going to be the color you're using. So if you have 3 orcs and they're all different colors, if you've got an orange one on top, you're going to score on the orange territory on the map.
Oh,
and,
I see.
And on
Okay.
the orc board.
Sorry, I forget. I haven't
It's
played this in
okay.
a while.
Yeah.
I
It's a
remember
good
it
game.
being delightful.
So it's
Quite a delight.
okay. So I was drunk when I was playing this game, and it was a fantastic game, and it was very strategic, and I really liked it. And you had like
Not because she was drunk. and
so
she
much
won by a
going
lot.
on. Yeah, no, you had so much going on with what was happening on the board and stuff like that, and it was so simple to play, and I loved that it was so simple to play.
What was your
but
favorite
yet
part?
so
Was it
in
lapping?
depth?
Was it lapping the 11-year-old? Was that your favorite part?
No, it was definitely lapping
cried.
you.
Look,
It
they
was
gotta-
definitely
You
lapping
did not
you.
lap me. You did not lap me.
They got to take their
I
lumps.
could have lapped. I had to have lapped you because I won the game. Like
No, not you didn't. No, so it goes
Oh,
up to
all the
50
way around,
points,
all the way around.
and
The
you went
second
around
time.
and you
Oh.
jumped the
Did I?
11-year-old was the only person you jumped.
Well,
Everybody
that's
else
okay.
got like close to 50 points.
Did you get their
over-
wallet?
You got over 50.
Did I get what
points.
wallet?
If you jumped the 11-year-old, did you
Oh.
get their wallet? Did you get like their
11-year-olds don't
allowance?
have a lot of cash.
They got allowance. You get, look, if you jump
Throw
an
50
11-year-old,
cents at
I don't
me.
even get allowance. I've asked.
you jump an 11-year-old, you're getting like $5 minimum, right?
You think?
I think so.
Maybe I don't
What's
know.
the average
I don't know.
allowance for?
Let's go find some 11-year-olds and beat them up. See
We'll
what-
find out, and then we'll make some
We
bank,
got a
and we'll buy a
daycare-
board game.
We got a daycare right around the
And
The
we'll
corner.
buy a
best
board
thing
game.
about beating up a kid for their money is that their faces are still real soft, so your fists don't get hurt.
This though, okay, so this game though, I would play instead of Reef, and like if everybody knew what they were doing, it would be
Yeah,
faster.
it does not sound like
Because
Reef.
it's super simple.
Twilight Imperium, I would play that over Reef.
No, I'm just saying it's
different
simple. If everybody knows what they're doing, it's a very simple game. You can play it very quickly.
I think this one goes a little bit
I'm gonna
more into
call-
the
But
it's
advanced
more in depth
category
and
I'm
now.
going to call
interesting.
logical fallacy on that.
Okay.
Because if everybody knows what they're doing, every game is simple. So
True.
that is, I feel,
You've
is
been
a
phallicized.
poor
That's not
metric.
true because you can have everybody that knows how to play Scythe and be like, oh, everybody knows how to play. It's a really simple game, because you only have like one movement per thing. But if you have that one person there that's like, what am I going to think about for
But
my
that
next
doesn't-
20 minutes of my turn?
That's a different metric.
That's
though.
different.
Because taking long
Analysis
for the turn
paralysis.
does not mean that it is not a simple game.
Well, with
Chess,
Ethnos,
take chess for example. Chess, incredibly simple. Pieces move forward, sometimes in different patterns. Right?
right?
That's it. That's the game. That's all you need to know to play chess. That's it. That's all you need to know. If you want to be good at it, and if everybody knows what they're doing, that's when things still simple, but
But
people
hard.
know. But
Well,
Simple hard.
with Ethnos, I think you're limited in what you have, that your turn can't take too long because you're either getting rid of cards in your hand and making a stack or you're picking up one.
Gotcha.
Like, there's not a whole bunch of other
I would
things you
agree
have
that
to take
it's-
into account.
It's fairly simple once you understand the rules, but it is a very in-depth game because I remember a lot of
Yeah.
it was which territories to take when nobody else is taking them and how to take them.
Let me
and
ask you this.
Which card you want on top to score.
let me ask you this. This is going to sidebar.
Is this going to blow my mind, this question?
Not really. I'm curious to what you guys view as an in-depth game. An
okay.
in-depth game versus.
I would, for me personally, an in-depth game is any game where you have to score on multiple tracks in order to do successfully, right?
Okay,
So,
so
any game where there's just one victory condition. So like like Ticket to Ride, I consider almost simple because right, like you just need to lay down tracks and then win, and you're going to win based off if you lay down the tracks the best. I laid this pipe really well.
So how about this?
But a game like say
That's how
something
everybody
like
wins.
Agricola,
Lay that pipe.
you've got to win like Agricola or however you
Agricola?
say it. You've got to have multiple things, or you start getting negative points, or like 5 tribes, or you've got to have multiple things to score on, or you start losing points. I consider those more complex games because you have to manage multiple different things.
So you don't see player agency as a factor in an in-depth game?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
because I don't know what those words mean. Come at me.
Player agency is the
I know the
idea.
words,
that,
but
At
not
least
what you
we're
mean.
honest.
I don't know
At
what you
least
mean
you're
by
honest.
that. Hold on.
Okay.
No, you explain what you mean by player agency.
player agency
Like how
means
many
that there's
choices you have.
how you are reacting to other players on the board.
Okay.
So, going back to Reef, the player agency there is you took a card that I needed.
Very minimal.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas if we're looking at something like chess, the player
High.
agency is very high because there are a number of pieces that could change the board state in dramatic
Yeah.
ways.
Their
at any
turn
given
changes
time.
your turn almost every
Right.
time.
Immediately.
Gotcha.
Immediately.
I don't think you need to have a lot of that for something to be complex necessarily. It usually the games that have more player agency are going to be more complex.
Not complex.
In comparison.
Not complex. In depth.
In depth. Well, okay, I would say those usually are more in depth if they've got more player agency, but it's not necessary.
Player agency scales though. So like if you have a bunch of gamers that are playing the first time around, that agency is going to scale it with every time that they play it, you know? So on the third time around, it's going to be a completely different game because in like a game like Ethnos, you're going to be able to figure out different ways to affect people on the board in completely different ways than you did the first game.
Because the first game, like I pretty much just was like, oh, no one's in this area.
But
I'm going to
like,
start building there.
with-
But then if we play it again, I'm going to be like, oh, she's trying to build there. I've got to stop her.
Right. But like with Reef, I mean, it's super simplistic that like you are so limited by that game, you know, because you have just the little card track and then you have your own board. With Ethnos, you could
Ethnos.
you could still
Ethnosi?
Ethnicity.
you could still have like a very simple game where players are just picking the cards and they don't have
But the
all of
term
that.
is immediately dictated by the other players. If they claim a set and they all of a sudden they flood the market with a whole bunch of stuff, right?
And I feel like you spend more turns just getting a card, trying to build something, than really interacting with the other players as much. The only way you really
'Cause-
interact with them is with the territories in the middle.
Because I remember...
Yeah, you can't. So you're talking about like a hate drafting sort of thing, where like you
Not
know that
quite.
such and such person has this, so Merfolk, and
but
then
see,
you
that
want to take
doesn't work.
Merfolk off the board so they don't get an extra token on the board.
That doesn't
Like,
work as well because of the colors.
It doesn't work as well
and
because
the
if
tribes.
that's not a card you actually need in your hand, it's eventually just going to come back out on the board,
Plus,
and then that
you don't
person's
know.
going to get
Just
it.
because I'm drafting giants, like you think, oh, he's drafting giants, but I might actually be doing colors instead. Like that happened many times. Where you guys are like, oh, he's going for giants, and I'm like, nah, actually, I'm just going for red.
So part of Ethnos that I remember enjoying quite a bit was the feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
Of when
That would
somebody
happen.
Of whenever
down.
somebody drop all their cards down, you're like, oh my god, there's so many cards
You
on the
have
table.
literally
So
everything.
exciting. I want all
just need
these.
green. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that
Yeah.
being a huge part of it. But
That is big.
But like, if you want to get real into it, like you can control the pace of the game by doing that.
You
Well,
absolutely
we did.
can.
So round
Yeah.
one, it was feeding frenzy almost every other turn. People were laying down sets of 2, sets of 1.
Yeah.
But by like round 2 or each 3,
Yeah.
we would go like 7, 8. We basically would draft everything out of the middle, and then people were top decking until they got like 5 or 6, and then they'd lay down 1 or 2
Well, and that's
cards.
what I love about Ethnos, though, is because that scales with the ages. Because
Right.
the first age, of course, you're going to be putting down 1s and 2s because you don't have any tokens on the board.
And you could win
on
stuff
age
with
3,
1s or
of course,
2s.
you're going to be waiting most of the game to put out cards because
3s
you
or
have to
4s.
put out a 4 or a 5 in order to get another token on the board. Like, it scales up perfectly with that. And I loved that part of the game, how intricate it was. Like, everything in that game it just drove it to a very nice like medium pace. I felt
So what's
like.
the worst thing about the game? Would that be how they stack?
Yeah, that was the worst thing, and that was like it was minute
I
because
didn't feel like it was big for me.
it was
maybe
minute,
because
but
long
it was
nails
really
makes a
hard for
difference.
me because I had like long nails and I was trying to put them on there and it like sucked.
She had to have other people stack for her, so I would charge her a fee
Yeah.
for that.
so to clarify that, so
Okay.
as you are putting your pieces on the board, you're not just like throwing cubes in
No,
a
you're
set.
actually
Nope,
supposed
you're
to stack 'em
actually
like a
stacking
tower.
them on top of each other like little towers.
Like Reef.
And they're supposed to represent your super awesome troops
But they don't.
and how cool you are.
They're
They don't
intricate
sit
pieces.
nice.
So right. I think they went more
They
for aesthetics.
just don't,
than they
but they're
went
really
for
pretty. They're very pretty,
actual
well-made
stackability.
tokens. Like they look cool. They look all tribal.
They're
and
no
stuff.
Oreo. You can't stack them like you want to.
No, you don't want to eat the middle either. I'm sorry.
You got
Let's
the
move
white
on.
stuff.
Let's move on. So,
Baby, like the filling of an Oreo.
Andrew, what game
The
did you
white
play
stuff.
that you want to talk
So,
about?
I've actually been
You've
not.
got friends, right?
Sometimes you play games.
Sometimes I play games.
Sometimes.
Actually, lately I've been
I need
playing.
proof. Show me your Facebook.
We're
They're
gonna
all
need an
bots.
Instagram feed.
They're all bots.
okay?
They're all
All
fake
bots.
Russian accounts.
All bots.
No, for me, I've been really jonesing a lot to play Frostgrave
Okay.
for a while. I haven't played it since like November, which is like 8 months ago.
Okay.
No,
That's how time works.
Yeah, sure.
7 months.
Is it 7 months?
It's July.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
November was 8 months. I'm right. Don't tell. No.
Did you say November?
Six,
Yeah.
I heard
8.
December. I only half listened to what you said. I heard burr at the end.
You and everybody else.
Just heard the burr. November, December, something, whatever.
October.
Same month. Still hot.
Correct.
Frostgrave.
Is that Frostgrave? Yes, thank you. So I haven't played in a while, and I've been jonesing to play Frostgrave solo because just the people
don't
that
have
have been
friends.
running. The people that I've been running my campaign with, they've just been unavailable
Died.
for a while, and I buried them
happens.
underneath
Dead
the
to you.
floorboards of my house.
If you don't
Floor-
like your
floor
players,
boats?
you just.
Do you say floorboards or boats?
You don't have a floor boat?
Nope. I just have regular
Do you not-
boards.
you had a floor boat when you were a kid, right? Just all boats on the floor?
Dude, we're in Arizona. Where the
Do
fuck are we
you-
gonna get a floor boat
Do you
from?
live at the lake?
We don't even know what water is out here. The fuck?
So
I
Joseph,
save my. It's so hot. I save my tears to drink
No,
later.
that doesn't happen.
She makes me cry a lot.
So Joseph A. McCullough recognized that people want to play games and they might not be able to get a group together, especially a very long form campaign game
People
like
that play
Frostgrave.
miniature games typically don't have a lot of friends, is what you're saying.
That's
Yes.
rude.
No, he's
I
right.
didn't say. He said it.
So
I
he
thought he was
published a while ago a few.
Solo campaigns.
Yeah, so he published like 2 or 3 of them as
Okay.
like one time, like $3.
So you can be master of your own domain.
kind of.
Wow.
Right. So I've been
fancy.
playing
No. Oh.
Dark Alchemy, which is a solo scenario where there's just a giant monster. You send half your warband in, you go kill it, you get to do stuff, right? And I'm really impressed at the way that this game that is intended for multiple people to play at the same time becomes a solo experience with literally no changes to the way
So
that
it's easy to do. Like it's not
Right.
like
Really?
So
What you're saying, you're easy in solo experiences? I'm just saying. Just sorry.
I dig it. I dig it. So the Frostgrave in and of itself
I don't think that's how you're
has
supposed to do it. I've never dug it. I've whacked it. I've never. Is that?
Let him continue. He's.
No,
got-
it's we
Pull
talk
it
about
together.
Do
Pull
you
it
whack
together.
It? Do you
Pull it
choke
together.
And I'm spent. Just talking about it, I'm done.
Solo experiences.
Solo
Always.
experience.
So 4 phases
A
to
win.
Frostgrave
Always a win.
is a prime, right? You have
You don't win the solo.
a wizard phase, an apprentice phase, a soldier phase, and then the creature phase.
Okay.
Because while you're directly fighting another person,
This does sound like masturbating.
it really does.
I do the same thing. Creature phase, look out.
Creature phase, come here, sheepette. Would you do not name your sheeps?
Nope. My
Okay.
sheeps. 1 sheeps, 2 sheeps, 3 sheeps, 4.
So the game just removes the player interaction with another player, and it just shifts. So it's player phase to creature phase,
Okay.
which is really interesting because the creatures have their own rules of movement. When you pick up treasures and stuff, different creatures will show up on the board. And I'm really impressed at how this really complex sort of a system can be distilled into player versus AI with
I like that though.
an if-then statement and a
Okay.
scattered dice.
Really? Okay.
So the if-then statement is if this model can see another a member of your party,
Yeah.
it will move toward that party. If he's in base-to-base contact with a model of your party, he attacks that.
Makes
Right.
sense.
If not true, roll a scatter dice, move X amount of inches in that direction. That's
Okay.
it, and that makes the game tremendously rewarding as a solo experience, which is
Really?
weird because here's the other part of it. It's a Frostgrave is a campaign game, so you're playing scenario after scenario and upgrading and building and stuff like that. These scenarios are only 3, or this solo scenario that I played, the Dark Alchemy, is only 3 scenarios. Or the campaign is only 3 scenarios.
Okay.
So fight a big dude, fight a bunch of small dudes, and then
Find the biggest dude.
I-
Maybe.
I actually haven't played the
Don't
last
spoil it.
scenario yet,
Okay.
so
So
I'm
you don't
not
even
quite
know.
sure. I don't, and which is why I'm super excited to get back to playing.
Yeah,
it,
to finish it.
Okay.
which is really interesting.
So you
like
couldn't
I don't
finish
I
yourself.
don't play a whole lot of solo scenario games and stuff because because I like
Why? Why would you not play a lot
playing
of solo?
against other players.
Is it that you have a
I like
permanent
having other player interactions.
a permanent opponent baked into your?
That's true. That's
That
true.
we even made
We made a third
opponent.
one as backup just in case anything happens to this one. So like
Why would it happen to me? That sounds ominous, right?
I'm a
She's
little
like,
bit.
sign this document.
I mean, you've got it
I'm
on
just
tape,
saying.
right?
You know,
You have it on
I have,
tape
and
that
then
she
and then we
intends to
have
murder
built-in
you.
Premeditated.
three-player games, so no problems there. But I don't know. I just don't. I
Usually,
get
you have
bored.
to go to a swingers club to get
Well, you know, that's true.
So you get bored playing single player games?
I
typically?
do, but I mean,
Unless it's like Dragon Age online, then you're just gone for 80 days.
well, that video games are different because they have more, like a complex AI. There's only so much you can do with like. You know,
Whoa.
flipping over cards or like
But she's right though.
moving
She's
them
calling you
towards
out.
people.
Yeah,
or,
I'm simple. I'm
you
just
know,
simple.
He's just
like,
a
I
simple
don't know.
man.
So I will say to that note, while I was playing the solo, the first two scenarios,
Yeah.
You were shirtless.
I was shirtless. I was in the buff.
Okay.
Right, I
Okay,
just- I
right. That's
trimmed
how
my
you. That's how you
legs.
play solo games.
not-
You play solo games
I
naked.
just shaved
That's
my
a
legs to
true
play
story
Frostgrave.
right there.
And
That's
I-
what you do.
I'm
And I
ready.
kept thinking that I'm like, I should just be playing the D&D adventure board games because it's the same sort
Oh,
of a
okay.
deal. There are more
Right.
creatures on the board. There's more
Yeah.
AI to take into account. But something just like, it just stuck with me. I was like, this is just good.
So you'd say yes.
Yeah.
You're pro.
So here's the thing.
solo
So I do a
Frostgrave.
lot of absolutely pro solo Softgrave. Absolutely. But not even just the solo Dark Alchemy scenario. You could just go in and just run a game solo. Have a 2x2 board,
Okay.
throw a bunch of creatures out there, and just play a few games. That's it. Now there is a small issue where when you have completed the campaign, you didn't win anything. You've just reached the end. Like unless you build,
completion.
Oh, that's it. That's
Right.
it. I'm done. I'm done. If you can't win anything, that's it.
She wants the booty.
like the win is
She
like
wants
you
loot.
get your wizard to the end of the scenario.
Okay.
Or
What,
to
do
the
you
end
high
of the,
five yourself after that? What do you do?
You win or you don't
Then
win.
you go play your own solo game in the bedroom.
that's the-
I guess.
Oh, that's the thing.
I
like,
won
you
a
don't-
game.
Come on, little wizard. It's time to go party. That's not how you do it.
You just reach the end.
Don't
and
kink
it's,
shame.
Okay.
It's really interesting because in most games there is an arc, right? In
Right.
Yeah.
Ethnos, the arc is you're playing 2 cards, and then all of a sudden 3 cards and 4 cards and 5 cards.
Oh my
10.
god, all the cards. Oh
Right?
my god.
What you doing
Sorry.
over there?
In
Like, I'm talking
Frostgrave,
about
the
cards.
arc is just the monster's dead. I can get the treasure and get off the board, or I'm just running through to get the treasure to get off the board, or there's treasure on the board.
Well, that's similar to like Gloomhaven, right? When you're playing Gloomhaven, you like defeat all the monsters, and you're like, okay, now we warp back to the town.
But
we don't pick up
sure,
the treasure.
But the win
Seems
there
bad.
is
The campaign. And you're playing with multiple people
right.
usually.
And the issue that I see with Frostgrave as a solo thing is like there's no campaign, there's no story
Yeah.
other than the
Okay,
general
so
story
if
of the-
there was a big overarching story to play through, I would be more into that with
See,
a
here's
solo
the thing.
game.
I'm not certain that I would.
Really,
Because while
I would be
do-
more interested in that.
I feel like the solo is more just to try out different bands, maybe.
Yeah.
Or just
Maybe.
to learn the game, right?
Yeah.
So like, I like that aspect, right? Because like, for example, we have Malfo, and like, I want to show her how to play it. So but we need 2 of us for that. If it was a good solo, I could just say like, here's the rules, play it yourself, figure it out, and then we can go play a tournament. But I have to like, she has to actually physically have someone show her, or she got to figure out the rules and play against somebody else, and we're both making mistakes. It adds complexity to it when you're just like, I'm going to play against the game, see how it works, decide if I like this kind of combo I've got set up, this band I've got, and then I can go take it to the store and play against actual people.
So I do a lot of solo gaming just to begin with, just because I've moved
Because of
away.
this?
Because of this, it's just ugly all the way down.
Yeah. Okay.
All the way down,
Not
it's like
everybody's got
deep
it.
inside. It's just terrible. No, but I do a lot of solo gaming,
You're
and I
a
feel
terrible
like
person, I
I'm just the
agree.
worst. I'm literally the worst.
Literally.
Quite so. So a lot of solo gaming on my side, but I compare things because let me think about this for a second. Solo games exist in a very unique
That's all the time we
space.
have today, folks. Thank you for coming out to the...
Oh my god, let him finish.
No, we're
We've
good.
gone totally over. All right,
yeah,
45 minutes. Let's
we're
do
good.
this.
Well, then we just round it out to an hour, right? So solo games, by nature, have to be compared to each other because they're unique designs and they're unique experiences that can't really be compared to
Any type of
multi-
multiplayer.
No, I
Right.
agree with that. You have to you can only compare solo games to other solo games. Like you can't compare them to other ones.
And I think that the more and more that solo games take nods from video games, the better the game is going to be. In this case,
Agree.
Frostgrave, it's PvE, right?
Right.
Player versus environment, environment being the monsters. But I think that the more that games pull from video games, board games pull from video games, and take the design choices and take the influence and stuff like that, just makes me want to play like Skyrim or something.
It makes you want to play more video games. You mean
it pulls? So it's like I see these elements. I see that
You're like,
this
is
pulled
great,
from
but
this. But I could just play this.
I could
instead.
just be and I agree with that.
Like any type of board game that's like World of Warcraft inspired makes me just want to sign my account back up.
I mean, it sounds like what Frostgrave does not have your digital cookies, basically, and that's what the video game. That's what video games have over board games and a solo gameplay is like. If you're playing a board game solo, you're like, yeah, I won, and that's why I think like maybe I would like a campaign style solo board game more, because I feel like I'm actually like making headway or doing something, or I'm getting stuff.
Well,
and in video games, you do that.
Now, here's to that note. I would rather just read a book.
Oh.
Okay. I would
Choose
say
your own
that- I would say
adventure.
the problem with solo games for a player like me is it's not enough that I win the solo game. I want others to
You
lose.
need to beat other people.
Yeah,
You
so I
don't want
need-
you don't want to be like, take that deck.
Yeah, I need other people to lose so that I can lord it over them for the rest of their lives. Like, remember that time you
Right.
lost really bad? I'm going to forever remember that. I don't remember your name, but I remember that time you lost Century Spice Road against me real bad.
I was gonna say we were playing a game at
You
Greg's
showed
house.
me how to play it,
I
and I
did.
whooped your guys' butt. That was
Yeah.
great.
Speaking of that,
Good
have you
times.
played Eastern?
We have, but we
Wonders yet?
can't talk about that right now because we have to do honorable mentions.
How fair?
We got to shut it down.
Fair.
You're done, princess.
All right, so Andrew, where do we check you out at?
So you can find me at rainmandigitalmedia.com. I am the one of the co-hosts of Game State, which is our new-ish board game show for the network. We're the only tabletop-focused thing on the network.
Very cool.
Branching out. So rainmandigitalmedia.com. You can find Game State there. You can also follow us on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
At
Game State Show, Instagram
Mm-hmm.
at Game State Show. We do live shows every so often. So if you're
Right.
going to tune into a live show, rainmandigitalmedia.com. Or if you want to listen after the fact, we're on Stitcher, iTunes, or anywhere you can get your podcast.
Very cool. And if you're watching this video today or listening to us, well, if you're listening to us, make sure to rate us on iTunes and Stitcher, and to check us out on YouTube now, because we are on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube right now, give us a thumbs up so we know
Subscribe.
we're doing good. Yeah,
Don't
and
forget to like and
subscribe to
subscribe.
us. That's right. All of our end game stuff. Anything else we got?
Yeah, you forgot to mention where we're at. The lovely.
We're at GloryHoundd.
No, I meant we're at Games U.
Physically.
Physically.
We're actually
Right. Well,
physically.
we are.
Not spiritually. Meant
Well,
like physically where we are at.
I am
Games U.
sitting.
What's the hours? The
Games
summer
U.
hours. for
I have no
Yeah.
Games U.
idea.
You just
Oh
told
my
me
God.
for Sunday.
It was like
They're
10
supposed
o'clock,
to be-
right?
So it's supposed to be 10 o'clock is open time. But that hasn't... I don't know if they're officially in effect yet.
Yeah.
The true
They're like, people
underbelly
are
of the
here at
beast.
10 o'clock.
Sometimes.
Possibly.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
If not, come back in 1 hour. Just like go across street to like Dunkin'
There's
Donuts.
an AMC. Go catch a flick.
And then come back and then buy
I thought you
stuff.
said, when you said AMC, for some reason, I thought gas station.
Yeah, no, I'm talking. That's AM PM.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the movie theater.
right.
AMC.
All right. That's it. I'm cutting us off.
Are
We're
you sure?
done, guys. We're done, guys. Bye.
Bye.